So just to say that over time, if APC remain
Broadly
loyal to its philosophy of progressive politics, and we have presidents and governors that are committed to running governments that are people-oriented, people-driven, and we insist that our party be different in terms of internal democracy, that party members should not just be spectators, they should be the drivers. And to quote President Muhammadu Buhari, that we run a party that is bottom up, and PDP choose to continue to run a party that is top down. Over time, people will fit into one way or the other, and there will be some stability. For now, that shaking you are seeing helps to give expression, practical expression, to what Awolowo saw, even when I was still in my primary school, that the progressive, we need the conservative forces to be able to retain, to be able to get power. But when they have acquired power, and if they remain faithful to the principles of progressiveness, the conservative element will on their own walk away. That is what has happened.
Now, coming from that background and the fact that you believe that given enough time, there will be a separation, one of the events that has attended this movement back and forth has been that specifically of the Senate president. It seemed that particular one seemed to have gotten more critical reactions than those of others who may not have been as high profile possibly. Part of the reason, of course, is that there had been debate over whether or not he should retain the position of Senate president, having moved away from the majority party in the upper legislative chamber. You have been very outspoken on the fact that he became Senate president on the basis of being a member of the ruling party, and that therefore, if he's now a member of the minority cannot rule over the majority. In fact, to quote you, you said something relating to the fact that that crown that you took while being a member of this family, you have to leave it now that you've left the family. But there's lawyers, some of the lawyers we have spoken to have said that there's nothing in the law that says that the principal officers of the National Assembly must come from the majority. And some, in fact, point to Speaker Tambuwal, who you referred to earlier on, that when he moved from the PDP to the APC in 2014, he didn't lose the speakership. Now, given the scenario, why does it seem as if the APC, and particularly yourself, you seem to be hammering on the case of Dr. Saraki as Senate President? Or am I wrong to say that?
Okay. As we speak, I remain convinced that Saraki must, I use the word must, vacate the position of Senate President as a matter of honor.
Not as a matter of law.
Wait. He will have to vacate as a matter of honor. If he does not choose the path of honor, he will be democratically removed as the president of the Senate. Because you are emphasizing law. I am emphasizing logic and political morality, plus law. You know, I come from a background where, as a young unionist, I went through trade union history. The law, what is lawful may be completely immoral. And society survives only when it is committed to strong ethical standards. Because law itself, as interpreted by judges, can at best give you judgment. It may not translate to justice. And for society to be stable, there must be commitment not only to rule of law, but strong ethics, including natural laws of fairness. It is unacceptable in any democracy, including the ones that we all proudly claim that we have borrowed from America. It is unacceptable for a minority party to provide leadership to govern the majority. Now, as we speak, APC has 57 senators. PDP has 49 senators. Assuming without conceding that the other two parties, namely ABGA and ADC, choose to align with the opposition, they will still be less than 57. They might just become 51 or 52. There's no way you'll have a parliament in which a minority provide the leadership. I mean, when Nigerians, when it suits us, we compare America. When it doesn't, we look for other excuses. Now, those channel television lawyers and newspaper lawyers, they are not judges. And I can see a lot of people, too many people are commentators and analysts without the appropriate depth, even on the subject of which they are commenting on. When I say Saraki will be democratically removed, he will be lawfully removed. People say, how? They choose to detain themselves with the assumption that the fact that we have 57 members means we cannot impeach the Senate president.
Yeah, because it requires 2/3.
He himself knows more than that. And then they go lavishly, constitute themselves to television judges and newspaper Supreme Courts. Look at the extant provisions in the relevant sections of the Constitution. It is very clear. It says to impeach a president or a vice president, a governor or a deputy governor, you need, in the words of the Constitution, 2/3 of all the members. All. The word all has to be emphasized. The same Constitution goes down to say, however, to impeach a Senate president, a deputy Senate president, a speaker, a deputy speaker, you need 2/3 of members. My brother, if the Constitution meant to say the same thing, it will use exactly the same language. Why did it emphasize all in the case of presidents and governors and choose to use the word all? Now, the issue before us is to allow competent court to sit down and see whether it will be the intention of the Constitution when it chooses to use the word all members for the purpose of presidents and others, and use members in another purpose. Now, if the intention was the same, the wording would be the same. Now, Senator Saraki knows the difference, and that is why, putting his own interest before, over and above national interest, he hurriedly adjourned the Senate upon that illegal act of allowing people to decamp even when there was no faction. Knowing that he cannot retain, he hurriedly adjourned the Senate without considering the issue of the supplementary budget for INEC, the environment, to move money away from recurrent expenditure into capital project, and to approve the foreign loans upon which the budget that they had approved can only be executed. Now, he knew that he can't survive. And that is why he did that, and then adjourned the House without obeying the laid down calendar which the House was committed to, and which is no secret to anyone. Unfortunately, Speaker Dogara chose to also put Saraki's interest over and above national interest, and also hurriedly adjourn the House of Representatives. And the result is that today we face a huge danger if we continue to allow this aberration to stand, of a situation in which INEC will not have the money, or if they will get it, they might get it too late to be able to procure a lot of the items they need, which we don't buy off the shelf, to place order on time so that those items are equipment, whatever they are provided to enable them conduct a free and fair election come 2019. So let me repeat. Saraki cannot, and APC will not allow him to impose minority rule. And I ask you, as members of the Fourth Estate of the Realm, whether those who find it convenient to quote the law are going to revise the universal definition of democracy, which says that in a genuine democracy, minority can continue to have their say, however loud, however militant. However, majority must have their way. This is a law far more superior to whatever some lawmaker may put. That universal law, which does not vary between nation states, it doesn't vary between ethnic groups, that majority must have their way, but minority must be allowed to have their say. PDP will continue to have their say on the floor of the National Assembly, but they cannot, as a minority, preside over APC majority. Saraki has a choice: obey the ethics of democracy, or be removed as Senate president, or be impeached. I remain committed to that. I believe if it was the intention of the Nigerian electorate to have minority, to have the Senate or the National Assembly to be superintended over by a minority, they would not have voted for APC to have majority in the Senate and majority in the
House,
in the National Assembly. Now, the other thing people point to is that, yes, Tambuwa did it. Speaker Tambuwa did it.
Yes.
All right. Interesting. That's a fact of life that we can't deny. However, check the facts. When Tambuwa did it, he worked so hard that for some time, PDP became minority in the House of Rep. He worked hard to take as many House of Rep members along with him that PDP temporarily became minority in the House before they started fighting back to buy people to
You said they fought back by buying people.
Yeah, okay, they fought back. However, yes, that is my opinion. You don't have to agree with it.